Welcome to your fortnightly dose of honesty and positivity with Rachel
and Jenny equals Renny. Two practicing coaches. The premise of our show is that we talk about everything from socks to self-belief.
and all sorts in between. We each prepare 3 questions in advance.
But the questions are a complete surprise on the day to the other presenter.
So it really could go anywhere, and it usually does. If you're interested in personal development and top tips on how to make positive changes in your own life,
why not grab a brew, step outside for a walk, or pop us on in the car and listen in to see where the conversation takes us.
Be a part of the show and send us your questions.
And we'll tell you at the end how you could be a guest on the show. Enjoy the ride.
So welcome everybody, and thank you to us for our lovely introduction. Welcome to Jenny and welcome to our guest Maddy. Lovely to see you both.
Hey Rachel, hey Jenny, how are you?
Very good, thank you. And how are you?
Very well. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Excellent.
We're
Well, it's
very
really
excited.
lovely to have you on the show. So thank you for being with us. For anyone that listens regularly, you'll know that we broadcast live once a fortnight, but we're always up for full disclosure. Sometimes we need to pre-record, and that's one of those occasions. So when you're hearing this, we have actually pre-recorded it a few days in advance. However, as always, it will be recorded live and unedited at the time. So you get the 3 of us, warts and all, in all our full glory. So for those of you that are listening, hello, please remember that we love to carry on the conversation, so do pop your comments in and we love to see what you've all got to say. So our guest today is the very wonderful and very colourful Maddy Alexander Grout, who is a visibility strategist, ADHD coach and advocate for people with hidden disabilities. She also loves all things rainbow, loves music, is a mum of 2, and her journey from invisible to influential, in her words, is a testament to the power of resilience and self-belief. Maddy also was named one of the Disability Power 100 in 2024. Amazing. Is a multi-published author, and her highly anticipated book, Mad About Money, is set to release in March. So make a note of that in your diaries, folks. And I'm sure Maddy will, by the end of the show, tell us a little bit more about how we can get hold of that book when it happens. So let's go for it. Time for the first question. So Jenny, over to you.
I think any of us who have are regular followers of you, Maddy, will have been aware of your recent PR forays, and we are really delighted to have you as an exclusive on the Renny Show, following your recent, can I say debacle? Can I use that word?
I reckon. Yeah.
So my question is, how are you doing? Because it was a lot.
Yeah. So to fill the listeners in, I was involved in I guess it was kind of like a smear campaign last week. On basically every single national newspaper, TV channels, radio shows. What actually happened, I had no idea about any of it, and I got home from the school run already in a foul mood because my daughter had told me she was sick in the morning, and there was no evidence of it, so I couldn't be sure, and she didn't seem that sick, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to kind of keep her home, I guess. So I was already a bit annoyed because whenever I have a child home, it's like it kind of throws my day a bit, because I'm an autistic routiner, so I like, things being in line. So I got home and I had a phone call from somebody who doesn't normally phone me, so I thought, oh, okay. So I answered the phone, and it was my friend Fanny, genuinely her real name. And we had a little chat. She said, Maddy, do you know that they're talking about you on LBC? And I said, what do you mean they're talking about me on LBC? She said, yeah, apparently you've been in the news this morning. You might want to Google your name. So I Googled my name and nothing came up. And I said to her, like, where was this? And she said, oh, they're calling you a Sickfluencer. And I said, what's a Sickfluencer? I had like genuinely no idea. And apparently the press have like coined this phrase Sickfluencer, which basically means that anybody who champions people who have got disabilities, and helps people who have got disabilities. So what they were basically kind of all gunning for me on was the fact that I help people to apply for a scheme called Access to Work, which is a very useful scheme for people who are disabled and neurodivergent. And it helps them to actually be able to access the workplace or self-employment. So very much along my lines of, values and morals. It's all about helping people who have got hidden disabilities. And the press were basically calling me out for, and I quote, aiding and abetting people to apply for benefits that they're not entitled to.
Wow.
Which was a bit like, oof, that's not really me. And they basically made me sound a bit like a criminal, which wasn't very nice. Having said that, the feedback from everywhere. I mean, me being me, I did the first thing that I could possibly think of, and I don't know how I managed to pull myself together because this was literally fight or flight. I picked up the phone and I phoned in LBC, and I got in on air, and I got to talk to the guy who was on there. I can't remember his name, but he wasn't particularly friendly. And actually, he was very, very ableist. He kept calling me an able young lady, which was incredibly patronising. Yeah, I know. Yeah, mouth drop open. Yes, I saw that, Jenny.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that. It was like, oh, did he now?
Yeah. So on my TikTok, there is the full replay of the radio show that I was on. It's a 10-minute segment, and it's basically just me arguing with him about like. And I said to him at one point, "Do you even know what Access to Work is?" And he was like, "No."
No.
So I was like, "Why are you even talking about it? You absolute idiot."
That's horrendous.
So that was the beginning of the week, and when we were supposed to record this and it was supposed to go out live, was when I ended up in hospital with a suspected heart attack. It wasn't a heart attack; it was an anxiety attack. I've never had one before. Genuinely thought I was dying. Luckily, I'm here to tell the tale. But I was severely dehydrated and I was low on electrolytes. And essentially, what that means is I'm not taking care of myself, which I know you two will both tell me off for.
We wouldn't ever tell you
looking
off.
at me already and thinking I'm being. But I did have lunch today. Like, it's the first thing I told you. Like, because this is the thing. Because I am an ADHD autistic person, I struggle with interoception, which basically means that I don't know when my body needs something. So I can't regulate hot or cold. I don't know when I'm hungry. I don't know when I'm thirsty until I've got a headache or a tummy ache, basically. So I have to force feed myself. But I had some tomato soup with 2 slices of bread. I feel like that's quite a good lunch. Got some vitamins in there. But I am pretty bad at things like that. I'm not very good at knowing when I'm tired. I'm not very good at knowing a lot of things. And I just tend to hustle is the wrong word because I don't believe in hustle. Hustle is not a thing. But I do, because of the ADHD, drive myself by a motor. When people describe ADHD as being driven by a motor, it is genuinely a thing. And I find it really hard to slow down. When I do slow down, I have to stop. And then when I stop, I find it hard to start again because I've got task paralysis or decision paralysis or just some form of paralysis. So people don't really know how much it affects. So in general, I'm okay. I don't think I'm anxious, but then again, I wouldn't know because of my problems with interoception. But overall good. Thank you for asking.
And one of the things my follow-up question to that was, it felt like a classic misinterpretation of what was actually happening, misunderstanding. As the doyen of the misunderstood, it sang to me, and that thing about. But what it feels like is that actually, out of that mess and hideousness, there's been lots and lots of positive things that have come out, and a greater understanding of what Access to Work is about, how people can get support, And we have to mention your fabulous T-shirt range, which sadly we didn't have time to all get together. The plan was that we were going to get together, weren't we, and all get the T-shirts.
We were. Mine haven't even arrived yet. So yes, I decided that I'm of the opinion that all press is good press. Like even if it's bad, I gained an extra 2,500 followers just from that media storm.
Brilliant.
I have had 7 podcast guest requests in the last week. I've been invited to speak on 2 stages. I've collaborated with some of the biggest influencers that are out there on TikTok and Instagram. And I have released my own T-shirt range. Now, the T-shirt range was actually in production to start with, but we just added another one into the mix. And basically what it says on the front of it, and it comes in 5 different colors actually. It says Sickfluencer with the word crossed out and then disability champion underneath it in rainbow colors. It's very pretty.
It is very, very pretty, definitely. If you're not following Maddy already, have a look.
We will at some point get the opportunity to all wear it together.
Yes.
And celebrate the fact that of all the podcasts, you came on ours first. So thank you.
I did. Very exciting.
Thank you, Maddy. So, I mean, with all that in mind, disability champion, and you've already spoken just now about hidden disabilities. The fact that you were named one of the Disability Power 100 in 2024, could you talk a bit about what you see your role as, having been named that, and why that's important?
Yeah, so I'm a content creator. I talk about hidden disabilities. I talk about neurodivergence, in particular ADHD. There is so much stigma around ADHD, having it, owning it, understanding it. And my role is to help people to understand their brains better, but also their bodies as well. I've got hidden disabilities when it comes to my body that are not particularly pleasant. I'm perimenopausal. I also have Hashimoto's disease. Technically, neither of those are classed as disabilities, even though I think they should be. But my main role is to educate people, to challenge the likes of the press when they come after disabled people. And it is to advocate for those people who are not brave enough to have a voice for themselves.
Yeah, and that's such important stuff. For those of you that are listening that feel you're not being heard, Maddy's one of the people you really need to be connected with. Because your social media presence, there's a real, apart from the fact it's all very bright and colourful, there's a real rawness and reality to the messages that you're putting out there. And I think there are so many people who feel marginalized because of hidden disabilities, or all the things you've talked about, ADHD and autism, and the various other things as well. And if you had to kind of think of a top tip or two for people who are in that situation and are feeling lost and unheard, what would you say to them?
Well, I think that the best thing that you can do, especially if you're on a waiting list, you're not 100% sure that you've got ADHD or autism, you are potentially kind of in that stage where you don't feel like you fit in, you feel maybe a bit weird, a bit like an outcast. There's probably a reason for that, and it's probably not just because you're weird. I think actually weird is a term that I don't think I know that many weird people who don't have ADHD or autism. So it's almost like if at any point you've been called weird, maybe you do. So my advice would be to learn as much as you can. Watch people like me on TikTok, on Instagram, learn and kind of follow along with our content, because there are so many amazing content creators out there who are making these disabilities, because they are disabilities, whether you see them as disabilities or not, they are registered disabilities. So it's about helping to educate yourself, educate the people around you. I've written my book, so as a late diagnosed ADHDer, my first 38 years on this planet were I like to call, well, I don't like to call, but I'm not allowed to swear on this podcast. So I call them higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah.
So my first 38 years, I spent messing up all over the place, higgledy-piggledy. I was a serial job hopper. I was basically an alcoholic, but a high-functioning one.
Yeah.
And I didn't fit in the workplace. I didn't fit in my friendship groups even. I was always the weird, crazy, oversharing one. You know, in the workplace, I found it very difficult. When I came out and I started a business, I found that very difficult as well, because, you know, when you start a business, everyone says to you, go and follow all the gurus, you know, the people who
Yeah.
know what they're talking about in business. So of course I did that, but they don't know how my brain functions. So I was trying to follow advice for neurotypical brains when mine was different. And until I knew that, it was difficult. So, you know, possibly if you are feeling in that situation where you're thinking about going for a diagnosis, you're recently diagnosed, you're late diagnosed, or even if you've been diagnosed for a while and you're just feeling a bit lost, my book is called Mad About Money. It's not just about money, but it is kind of everything that a late diagnosed neurodivergent person kind of needs to thrive in their life.
Fantastic. And do you just want to mention alongside that the Mad About Money app and how that can help people?
Yes. So Mad About Money app is it's a free resource. So it's more focused on money there than anything else. Money and business. And it's basically every week we release probably about 4 new blogs, resources, guides, videos, to help people who are struggling with their money situation.
Fantastic. So that's definitely something that's worth checking out, folks.
Yeah, and it's free. It's on the app stores.
I do have it. I have to say it's fabulous.
Aw.
I think I'm going to congratulate myself because I was an early adopter. I think that's
You
what you
were,
call
yes,
it.
you were actually.
Early adopter. So thank you for that, Maddy. Now, for the third question, I'm going to do something a bit left field, although it was mentioned. So we know, obviously, you are a lover of music.
I am.
And so my question is, if you were choosing a theme song for you, what would you have?
Oh, that is a hard one. Really
It is
hard
quite
one.
hard, isn't it? You can have a couple. You can have a short list if you like. You do like
Okay,
Eurovision.
so if we were going to have if we were going to have a selection, because I think it would be maybe a toss up between maybe 3.
Okay.
So McFly, 5 colours in her hair. Because I am the weirdo with probably 27 colours in my hair, but you know, I love that song and I love McFly. Probably there's a song by a band that probably people might not know, but I'm like a rock and punk and ska fan. There is a band called Jimmy Eat World. They're an American band, and one of my favourite songs ever, which is actually one of the chapters in my book, is named after it. It's called The Middle. And one of the lyrics in that is, you're in the middle of the ride, but don't worry, you're going to be just fine. And it's actually hey, don't write yourself off yet. You're only in the middle. You only feel left out or looked down on. It's a really good song, and I feel like that sums up where I felt before I became free. And you know, when you learn about your brain and your body, it is very freeing. And then the other one, just because it's super duper empowering, Pink, Just Like Fire.
Brilliant. That's quite a selection of songs.
Like, you know, that's my, like, if I want to feel empowered, like, or if I'm going on a client call, I often put that on. It's like my power pose song.
Fantastic.
Oh, fabulous. I'm sure there will be people adding them to their Spotify playlist as we speak.
Well, now you say that, now you mention, so every single chapter in my book is named after a song.
Okay.
And if you go to any of the links in my bios on any of my social media channels, there is actually my book playlist, and you can download it for free. It's on Spotify, and I've tapered it back a little bit from all of my rock and punk songs that people might not necessarily know. There are a few there. It's to help educate people into the world of Maddy's brain, because I do love music so much. This is my my tattoo, which oh, hang on, which way am I going? It's really
way.
hard to know which that way.
No, the other way. Yeah, there it is.
That way. So that's all about owning your soundtrack and being the authentic you, and loving your journey and appreciating wherever you are, because you can fast forward, you can rewind, you can pause, but it's your journey and you need to love yourself for it.
That's a really powerful message, actually.
I know, right?
Yeah. And it's I do a tunes day every Tuesday. Every Tuesday I have a tune that I talk about, metaphorically, sometimes actually, and sometimes a bit of both. So I was just thinking the other day, I've done quite a few of them now. I was like, oh, I've nearly got an album.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like I actually wanted my own album. I thought this is really cool, like, and I started I love putting together playlists on Spotify and stuff. So when I was writing the book, I just thought, oh, maybe I should just say, like, at the beginning of each chapter, like, this chapter is sponsored by whatever. And then when I spoke to my publisher about it, they were like, why don't you just name each chapter after a song? So I did. And also, I actually because everything I do is like to get really visible. I do weird, crazy things. I found out that one of the artists who one of my chapters is named after was playing. Well, he wasn't even playing. He was on the guest list for another band, and he was going to be in my city. And somebody who knew I really liked him messaged me and said, "Did you know that this guy's going to be at this show?" So I went down to a gig on my own, as a scared autistic person, loved the band, really good, managed to not only meet one of my heroes from my band, I got him to record a TikTok to introduce his chapter in the book. And then I hung out with him while he got drunk on tequila all night, which was really fun.
Brilliant.
How cool are you?
Yeah, well,
I just do weird things.
A woman after our own heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So Maddy, it's your turn now. You get to ask us a question. So fire away. And as always, folks, we don't know what this is going to be. So
no. So I want to ask both of you, what do you do to get visible in your business?
Ooh. Well, I'll type it to come on the screen. You can go first, Jenny.
She always does that.
Get out of jail free card.
To think. Yeah. So what do I do to be visible? I think there are a number of things. So obviously I love writing content. I have recently discovered a love of images. So I put images on. I know I need to do more TikToks. I'm going to admit to being video is something that this is 2025 is my year of the video.
Yay.
And so I'm going to be doing a lot more of that, speaking on stages, networking. I'm a serial connector. So and I mean proper connecting, I love that. I love really getting to know people. And of course, once I've met you and got to know you, your friend forever. I would consider you a friend forever. So it's one of those kind of things. So I think in person, lockdown was really hard for me. I know we're out of that now, but it was really, really difficult. So I love that, being in person, getting out there, talking to people, posting, responding to Facebook and social media. Although I'm quite careful about that. I curate the groups I'm in quite carefully, because there's a lot of negativity and nastiness out there.
Oh, no.
And I don't want to be involved in that. But my big thing this year is embracing video. And I've always avoided it because I love doing lives. That's why we love doing this show. Love doing lives. But the minute somebody goes record, I kind of turn potentially a bit Fiona Brucey. So I get all formal, and I forget to be
That's so
me.
weird. You see, I'm the other way. So like if I'm recording something that's pre-recorded, I'm absolutely fine. If something is live, I trip over my tongue, I lose my words, I lose my train of thought. Like I find it really distracting. Lives for me, that's my visibility goal this year, to do more lives. More speaking. Of course, you are both welcome to apply to be on my stage for Visible Fest, which is my inclusive business festival that is on the 7th and 8th of May. Cheeky little plug there. But it's all about owning your own soundtrack. It's about having your voice. So whatever you want to talk about, you can talk about. The theme is visibility, obviously, but even just showing up and being on the stage is being visible. So last time we had over 75 speakers, and it was crazy. And it's all in
I love being on stage. Love it.
yeah, so it's all online. It's in my my crazy online world, which is possibly a tad self-indulgent. It's called the Maddyverse, but it's you'll understand why it's called the Maddyverse when you get there.
Yeah, I love the fact that you've called it the Maddyverse. Absolutely brilliant.
It sounds like the place to be. Rach, over to you.
Well, I mean, it might not surprise you. My answers aren't that different. I mean, one of the things about being visible, that's why we do the Renny Show as not just an audio podcast, but as a, what do you call it, vodcast? I don't know. That sounds too much like
Video
vodka.
cast, yeah.
Yeah.
B-cast,
whatever
something
that means, whatever it's called. Because I think it's really important for people to see your face. You know, when you're in business for yourself, people want to know who is behind that business, what makes them tick.
Absolutely.
You know, the whole people buy from people, they want to see who you actually are. And, you know, very much aligned to what you've both said. You know, I'm really, really happy talking live. It doesn't, but you know, I get butterflies, same as anyone, but it doesn't bother me, and I'm really happy to do it. But I don't go live very often on my socials, and it's actually it's in my first quarter social media strategy to be doing more live video, because I think the power of video is enormous. I mean, I think we've seen that, haven't we? You know, very much with all the things you do with TikTok, Maddy. You'll know this more than anyone. Video is so popular, and video is quite often what will stop the scroll. You know, you can have great images that can stop the scroll, but there's something about video, you know, particularly if it's short form that people can consume quickly. It's just huge. It's global, and you know the possibilities for then reach and engagement are enormous. So
and
I feel
launching
like
my book, I mean, like that's one of the reasons why TikTok is such a great platform, because it's so diverse. You can reach new people. Although it went in America for like 13 hours or something.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I never really thought it was going to go.
It was a storm in a teacup, really, wasn't it?
PR stunt, maybe, possibly.
Of course it was. Yeah, I have no doubt.
But it is a really good platform, and actually I try and go live on TikTok once a week. My aim is to kind of pluck up the courage to go live on Facebook. I think it's because even the most visible, even the visibility strategists among us sometimes get stage fright, and mine is going live to my friends, because you know my Facebook is also my personal Facebook, and I know that not everybody wants to see me, so I always just think, who wants to know about me there? But actually they probably do still, and I should probably do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, people are nosy. People want to know what other people are up to, and you know, curiosity, natural curiosity.
Yes.
You know, we are a curious species.
It's so weird that you said. I was watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire last night, and they were talking about like the phrase "curiosity killed the cat," and it's like, that is a terrible phrase, because we really want people to be curious. Curiosity is a really good thing. So interesting you said that. Yes, curious is a good word.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Jenny and I as coaches, curiosity. Oh my God, you do coaching too, Maddy. Curiosity is a crucial word in the coaching world, because you have to be curious about what's going on for someone to be able to try and help them delve a bit deeper into it. So you know,
absolutely.
really important, and it
Yeah.
definitely doesn't kill cats.
No, I like cats. Poor cats. Leave them alone.
Well, I think it's really good, isn't it? So what we've demonstrated here is that developing and learning is an ongoing thing, isn't it? So we make assumptions. All of us do that, don't we? Oh, Maddy's the visibility guru, and therefore she will have no fear and she'll just be able to seamlessly do everything. And it turns out that actually, you're brilliant at recording and don't like lives. I'm the other way around. So actually, there's all of us have our little foibles, don't we? That we have to get over ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, would you believe that I hate public speaking? Like,
I mean, that's just
passion. It literally gives me sweaty palms, but I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
So I had a speaking event last night it was 10 minutes. Like I'm really good at speaking for 1.5 minutes on my TikTok or doing training sessions, which are like 40 minutes, 10 minutes, heebie-jeebies. And it I just can't, I always think I'm not going to fit enough information in. I'm not going to leave them with anything valuable. And I'm going to be absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
And then everybody comes over to me afterwards. That was so inspiring. That was so amazing. And I'm like, I totally made it up on the spot. So yeah, I mean, I
think when you speak from a place of deep support and authenticity, you will always leave. It's like, Maya Angelou, isn't it? You will always leave people feeling that they've been understood, and we all want to be that. So when you talk to people about your experience and you do it in a way that is so accessible for others, then all of those people who are feeling marginalized, misunderstood, not heard, feeling weird, out of sorts, hidden, all of those people go, oh, she's talking about me.
Yeah, you see, so this is like, do you want me to read you the poem that I wrote yesterday?
I can't wait to I'm coming to that event, the next one.
So it's so good, so good. But the poem that I wrote yesterday, with the help of my good friend Sparky, the ChatGPT man. But I mean, this was something that I had to do a lot of the writing before I put it in. I was just like, make this into a poem for me. But this is something that's really poignant, and I want to leave you with this. They told me to be quiet, to fit in, to hide, to smooth out my edges, to shrink and abide. I am not silent. I am not small. I am the echo, the rise, the call. I am the bold. I am the brave. I stand in my light. No mask, no filter. I live in full sight. I dress how I want. I speak what is real. No more pretending. I own what I feel. My story's not perfect. It's tangled. It's loud. I wear it with pride. I stand unbowed. For being visible isn't just being seen. It's for loving yourself for all that you've been. So here's to the misfits, the fearless, the free, the ones who refuse to be told who to be. Play your own soundtrack. Let the world hear, because your voice is your truth, and it all starts here.
Wow. Oh, Maddy,
it made me. I actually almost cried when I read that last night. I was like,
yeah, I've got goosebumps, and it's
I'm hanging on by a thread here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was like, I need to. I had a quivery voice when I was reading that. I was like, oh my god, like, and this was the thing. I wrote down like a few sentences about what being visible and what owning yourself and your self-expression meant to me. So it's very personal to my journey, and it's personal to the people that I talk to. So being able to stand up in front of a room full of 50-odd people and say that out loud was quite empowering, but also terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Crikey. I mean, my next question is going to be, is that going to be published somewhere? Because I think it's brilliant.
Well, I think I'm going to have to edit it, because ChatGPT kind of wrote it with me. But I feel like it does need to be published. I think my next book, which is going to be all about business and visibility, I feel like that will be in there.
It's the forward, isn't it? It really, it's the call to action. It's the
I'm going to meet another famous person, though, to do my foreword for my next book, because I've got Suzanne Shaw from Hearsay doing the foreword for this book.
Oh, nice.
It's quite cool, isn't it?
I've just done a foreword for a book. So I could be available for you.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
it. You heard it here first.
Absolutely amazing, and I'm always looking for contributors and people who want to be in my books as well, because this one we've got quite a few different contributors to it. So yeah, it's very exciting, and it actually this week. So just despite the fact that my week last week was a bit crazy and a bit, I got the notification that my book had reached #1 on the Amazon best new releases list. Which is
Amazing.
kind of insane and a little bit crazy. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing, but my publisher said it to me. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, it's kind of wild that so many people want to read my book. And I also am thinking, have I overshared too much now? Like, because it is very oversharey, but I'm excited. I'm still excited. So it's coming out in the spring. Not 100% sure on date yet, but it's when you can actually order it now. You can pre-order it on Amazon.
You can pre-order it, can't you?
You can, because that's what's put it up to #1. So
Yeah.
after, I'm sure it will be #1 again after this podcast.
Oh,
Of course it will.
I hope so.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so with all that visibility stuff in mind, and I'm sure that loads of you listening will be keen to connect with Maddy. So Maddy, tell us, where can people find you? Where is best to connect with you?
So I am a social media legend. It's not the word I usually use, but this is a polite podcast, so I'm going to be good. I'm everywhere. So I am on TikTok, obviously, Mad About Money Official. I'm on Instagram, Maddy Talks Money, Maddy Alexander Grout, everywhere else. Come and follow me, come and connect. I'm really friendly. I don't bite. It's nice to have new people in my world. So and also you can check out, I've got loads of freebies and things that I give away, which, are snippets of my imagination and knowledge. I've even got a rainbow zebra colouring that's a freebie in my stand store. So you can find that on all of my social media.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Maddy, just thank you so much for giving us your time. It's just been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And I have to say, bear in mind what you said beforehand, well done for not swearing, because
I am the most sweary person. Do you want to know how many swear words they had to take out of my book?
No.
342.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to edit them all and change them into weird words. And at the back of the book, we've got like an F-bomb glossary.
I love that.
So yeah, I did really well.
You did. We're just, I can't tell you how delighted we are that you joined us. So thank you for your time and your energy and your brilliance. Our criteria for being on the show is that people are inspiring and brilliant. And you have absolutely nailed that. So thank you so much.
Flattery will get you both everywhere.
Of course it will. But we're honest as well, or honest and transparent.
Well, this is the thing. I think when you have values that align with other people, then it's so easy to come into each other's worlds and for it to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
My whole thing. So a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, if you've been listening, thank you very much for your time as well. And do join us again in a couple of weeks. We've got some more lovely guests lined up in the coming weeks. I think it's going to be actually quite a while till it's just me and you again, Jenny. So keep your eye out on our socials for exciting announcements about who we've got coming up. But I think you'll like it. They're very exciting guests. As always, do pop us comments, questions, anything to carry on the conversation, because we love to talk, don't we, Jenny? There's no denying it. But in the meantime, all take good care of yourselves. And Jenny, I meant Maddy. Maddy, thank you once again for joining us. And Jenny,
you're so welcome.
Always,
you missed out telling people to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. We could do with some more reviews for the podcast. So if you enjoy it, then please do subscribe and leave reviews. And remember that you can listen on all the podcast platforms. You can go to YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn once a fortnight. So come and join the fun. That's the message.
I always say that because I always forget to tell people to subscribe to mine, and I get told off as well. So.
Thank you for the reminder. Much needed. So, time to say goodbye, folks. We will see you again in 2 weeks' time. And until then, keep being brilliant and keep being inspiring. Ta-ta for now.
Bye.
So, did you enjoy the ride? Don't forget to subscribe on your usual podcast platform so you don't miss out on future episodes of The Renny Show.
We broadcast fortnightly on a Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. GMT. You can join our live stream on LinkedIn and Facebook and watch on YouTube, or catch up on your favourite podcast provider when it suits you. Either way, please do come and join us again.
If you're sat there thinking that just maybe you're inspiring and brilliant at what you do, then we'd love to hear from you and invite you onto The Renny Show as our guest.
Or maybe you simply want to join in the conversation, and that works too. Feel free to send us in a question for us to answer on air. We love to talk, and we'd love you to be involved. Until next time, keep being brilliant and inspiring. Bye for now.
Bye.